started with horses in, I'd say about 1980, 82. My younger brother emigrated and left South Africa, and at the airport he said to me, I just forgot to tell you something, I have a horse, one horse with a trainer, and I'd have to take over the monthly payments. I said, great, thank you very much. I knew nothing about horses. And I enjoyed the privilege of going out there on the weekends and chatting to the trainer, and it wasn't long, obviously, before I got a bit more involved. I began to understand the breeding side. I must say, from day one, breeding has really been my real love in the sport. Racing's too hard. For me, it's just too hard. And I soon became friendly with a guy called Carl Ebb, who no longer trains in South Africa. In fact, they emigrated some 15 years ago. And I had a couple of horses with him. Comes to mind Sudden Gold, Juvenescent, wonderful horses. And I had a wonderful time with Carl. He was very basic, down to earth. When he left, met Patrick Shaw, and my involvement really started from there. Patrick is a totally different type of individual. He's a very much, you actually deal with a family. It's a family run operation. Wendy, the jockey, everybody is part of a real family there, and I enjoyed it. I really miss Patrick today enormously. He's in Singapore. I try and speak to him as often as possible, and I've developed a very close and a very strong relationship with him. So there are many benefits from this business. You know, you look at my partners today, Marcus, Larry, whoever they are, one develops incredible relationships through racing, and one's got to enjoy it. It's about friends, it's about winning, it's about the enjoyment, the disappointment, unbelievable disappointment. When I went to England in '97, one of us had to go and drive the operation there. I got involved in racing through the late Laurie Jaffe, another great individual that I met and became friendly with. So Laurie introduced me to William Haggis, and I bought a couple of horses with William, and I've had a lot of fun since then. And there's an interesting part to the story, because both Count Dubois and DuPont came from my racing days in the UK, and Count Dubois won me the Grand Criterion in Italy, which is a very prestigious race for 2-year-olds. It was probably one of the best 2-year-old races in the world. And I remember that year Coolmore had the great breeders from Ireland, had about 5 horses in the race, and the favourite was one of theirs at 5-10. And here arrived Haggis with Count Dubois by Zephonic, and Basil Marcus up. I said, no, Basil must ride, South African boy. He'd never ridden there before in Milan. And we beat them on the line by the shortest of short heads. So, you know, these are the stories, and that's what makes racing such a wonderful sport. Then there's DuPont. DuPont I bred out of my mare, June Moon, and again to Zephonic. In those days, Zephonic went through a bit of a dip. He was a son of Gone West, and Zephonic was probably one of the most impressive Guineas winners in the UK, Guineas 2000. They call it the Guineas 2000. And he annihilated Barathea, who in his own right was a great horse. So Zephonic was very, very fast, and we sent June Moon, who was my one and only mare in the UK, to Zephonic, and she had produced already 1 or 2 very impressive group and listed horses, and he produced for me DuPont, or she produced for me DuPont, and DuPont won dual guineas, one in Italy and one in Germany within 10 days of each other. William felt he'd done enough in the UK, said, why don't I take him to South Africa like Count Dubois as a stallion, which we did. And of course Depardieu, who's running in the Guineas on Saturday, is is by DuPont out of Diva, and bred by Veronica Folks from Normandy Stud. Veronica is just remarkable, another one of those great characters in the Cape, Normandy Stud. She is just the most incredible breeder, simple, down to earth, gut instinct, nothing special, and has produced Winter Solstice, Bravura, and of course Mother Russia. So just a great family, and all out of Diva's a half sister to Winter Solstice. So that family is just fantastic. At the sales 2 years ago, I asked John Freeman to buy me some horses, Marcus and myself some horses for Patrick in Singapore, and Depardieu was one. Sadly, and unknown to us obviously, Depardieu failed the pyro test, and we had to leave him there. In the meantime, Dean was preparing him to go to Singapore with the other 3 that we'd bought, and unfortunately he never got there. So we said, well, Dean, just carry on with him. He said, well, DuPont, how far do these horses go? Can I see the breeding? So we showed him, and he very soon started proving himself. So that's our runner in the Guineas. I know Marcus has 2 other runners, and well, we will see. And obviously the Guineas now more complicated than it was before with the nomination of the filly, and it will be very interesting. Maybe he's a bit out of his league. We hope not. Owners always live on hope. I think Dean likes his horses to run on, and I think although Felix is not a guy you give instructions to, I think he knows that Dean likes him to give him a chance. But I think, and I really know nothing, I'm an armchair commentator and critic, but for me was a bit far behind. I think in that going, to have given them 6 lengths is very difficult to make up. So I'm hoping that Bernard Fade Herbal is watching, and that he'll be a bit more handy, and maybe that way we'll get the best out of him.